Life's too short to drive boring cars. Lately, I've been shopping around for the next greatest luxury car. But as well, with that said, if you've been following the channel, you'll know that I'm pretty much done with the BMW Bavarian Money Waster brand because of the lack of quality of parts, the styling disasters, and the overall greasing when I step into the service department. So that's truly okay because the list of cars that I'm going to share with you today are even far better than any BMW that you could have even dreamed of. They go faster, they look better, they sound better, and in most cases, they hold way better value for the long term. We also can't forget the R word, reliability. Most of these cars are also vastly more reliable than most BMWs. So stick around. I'm going to share a list of 5 amazing luxury cars that I personally would buy today because I just think they're amazing. Let's get into it now. So the first car on my list is this beautiful rig behind me here. It's a car. It's actually on its 7th generation and started way back in 1963, called the 901. They were also only about $6,000 back in the day, and of course they ballooned in pricing, and the physical statures also ballooned about 50% throughout the multiple generations. I personally have owned several of them and have always fell in love with the charm, the performance, the handling that feels like it's on rails, the brakes that stop on a dime like you just got punched in the gut, a soundtrack that literally is like no other, and believe it or not, the value retention on most 911s are very, very high, with the exception of the 996, and coincidentally, those are coming back too. But let's take a quicker look at the Porsche 911. What we have here is a late model. This is a 992 Carrera 4S Cabriolet. As you can see, a convertible. Love those big brakes. And they have beautiful wheels, beautiful mirrors. They've got cameras. And look at these nice flush door handles. How about these flares? They are absolutely to die for. Absolutely gorgeous car all the way along the back, and definitely has a road presence like no other car. Of course, even Porsche, like everybody else, getting into the latest and greatest LEDs. And how you tell this is the latest model, it has this light strip across the back, and it has this more integrated rear vent system that comes up. Lots of vents to carry air through here to keep it cool. Of course, you've got 1 and 2 very cleanly installed exhaust tips. And just looking down the side of this beautiful car, there isn't a bad angle. And all these flares and humps just make it look aggressive. There you go, got LED headlights, but other than that, the bug eye look is still very genuine and true to its roots from back in 1963. More lighting, very discreet, and a very sharp fish nose type front end on it. What about the interior? They're going back more to the roots with the linear dashboard. This one happens to be a PDK, their dual clutch transmission, but you could still get a manual gearbox in certain models. And Porsche has dabbled in engine sizes and a variety of different displacements all the way up to 3.8 liter and beyond. Now these later generations, they've gone and turbocharged a 3-liter engine. So they've dialed back the displacement, added a couple of turbos, and now you have impeccable performance. And there's one thing that's been a constant for the 911, and it's also keeping its value, is the 911 has always been very true to the design. Sure, in some models they've gone and added all-wheel drive, so you get all 4 wheels driving, but conventionally they always default to rear-wheel drive. They've gone and added turbocharging for updating the power outputs. But the engine is always tucked over the back wheels and the transmission's in front, and it becomes a transaxle driving to the rear wheels. But the early generation cars were called the Widowmakers because often the rear weight bias created a pendulum effect, and a lot of these cars wound up in the rhubarb if you got a little too excited. With hard braking or drop throttle oversteer in the corners would create a real exciting dynamic. But now Porsche has really dialed out and engineered most of those odd driving characteristics to where now they have one of the best handling and most capable performance cars on the planet. Literally one of the best go-tos if you've got 100K plus to spend on a brand new sports or luxury performance car. The Porsche 911 is definitely your game. Number 2 on my list is this beautiful little rig behind me here. What are we looking at? It's a Jaguar or Jaguar F Type right here. This one here is actually a slightly lower spec, but let's do a walk around and I'll explain why these things are so great. First of all F-Types pretty much look like this. The bare structure looks the similar as this. This is the coupe, and you can also get it in a convertible. Clamshell style hood that flips up this way. These beautiful headlights that have the J carved into the LEDs. It's very prominent when it's illuminated. Beautiful front nose on these vehicles, and you'll notice it has that very prominent front chin there as well. Sensors everywhere, and you've got those great nostrils there that just give it a little bit of presence. Beautiful wheels on every Jaguar, and of course here we have this little vent auto fold-away mirrors, and you have this tuck-away door handle. This car here is a little softer. It doesn't have that aggressive rocker that you'll find on the F-Type Rs and SVRs. We circle around to the back, and you have this beautiful remote up rear trunk lid. You can throw all your junk in the trunk. And then you look down here, splitter very basic. When you step up on the F-Type and you go beyond the 380 all-wheel drive and you go to the R or the SVR, you wind up with a much more aggressive rear valence. And you can go quad tips if you have the V8 engine, which this is not. But this still sounds amazing nonetheless. You see the dual trombones up the center. And you can see right in there. Beautiful hips. These vehicles definitely have a presence on the road like very few other vehicles. Love these rear taillights. And on the roof, you can get 3 configurations depending on the model of the vehicle. You can get a painted roof, carbon fiber roof, or the glass that's full light into the cabin. What's the inside like? The inside's a nice mixture of high quality materials mixed with a lot of extra plastics and odd textures. Not necessarily the highest level of finishing in the industry, but it does very, very well. But if you step up to the higher end models, you can get the F-Type R, which actually has a 5-liter supercharged V8, 550 horsepower, beautiful. The SVR, 575 horse, amazing. And they're strapped to an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission that shifts almost as fast as a double clutch tranny by any other brand. There's literally few other vehicles on the road with this level of stage presence, luxury, and if you can believe it, for a Jaguar, they're not really any worse than any other luxury brand for reliability. I personally love the F-Type so much, I bought an F-Type R for myself and currently drive it around and had it for almost 2 years now with little to almost no issues. Perfect. And the next one that I was absolutely smitten by when I first drove it, I mean, I even loved the way it looked, but once I got behind the wheel, it was next level, and it's the Audi TTRS. Some would argue it's not truly a luxury vehicle, but it's from a luxury brand, so I would say it qualifies. But there it is, absolutely stout and aggressive. It takes the standard TT and pumps it up with steroids in the hump, in the rump, and brings a whole new level of performance. What do we have here? Well, this is a 2.5 liter turbocharged strapped to an Audi's double clutch transmission, the DCT, but even better, Haldex all-wheel drive system is much better than the standard Quattro. This car can bite down and launch. Right there, only in the TTRS. And it says Quattro, but it's not truly Quattro. There's the infamous big grills that every brand is using today. But look at the wonderful little headlights. And of course, you've got the piano gloss black there. And RS with the big calipers and fancy wheels. Got some more piano gloss black on the mirror as well. And a pretty cheapy little handle. Reminds you it is more of a lower end Audi. Of course, you got LED taillights all the way around on the TTRS. And this beautiful wing here that definitely gives it another level of stage presence. How about the flares? Definitely makes it look a little staunch and aggressive. Down here you've got the rocker panels, flares out, flares back in. But you'll notice nothing fancy on the roof. This car is essentially based on the Golf platform, so it isn't by default a standard fire-breathing beast, although in this configuration it sure drives like one. 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds. And it's got standard aggressive RS style brakes, means it can clamp down and stop on a dime. But what about the inside of these cars? This beautiful Q-stitch patterns means it's literally some of the most aggressive and nicest seating positions within anywhere in the industry. Beautiful controls, high quality, and in some configurations you get your share of carbon fiber within these vehicles as well. And ultimately it's more or less an RS3, but because this has a slightly reduced weight, means this car knocks a tenth off the 0 to 60. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, the TTRS. And the next one on my list is this beautiful toy here, and there's actually 2 more over here, and it's because you can literally have your cake and eat it too. The last time I drove one of these, I was truly mesmerized and impressed by its level of fit and finish, way beyond most other brands even for that matter. And what we have here is the LC500. Here we have a convertible, and here we have the coupe. Personally, I go for the coupe. I love the stance of it, I love the looks of it. Let's take a quick look and I'll talk about some of the specifications and why these cars are so amazing. I mean, other than that front grille, some love it, some not as much. I'm not saying I particularly love that front grille, but I think I'll take all the positives with this car and sort of ignore that piece. Beautiful headlights there, you'll notice, very nicely integrated, slightly busy, and those beautiful large oversized wheels. How about these wonderful mirrors all the way along? And look at that roof line. Carbon fiber, beautiful chrome trim. And of course along the back, it definitely has a very strong and tough look at the back end, but still lots of class, precision, and fit and finish. Look at the lines, very clean all the way along. No deviation, not like a Tesla. These are truly a clean car. Love the rear tail lights on these as well. And then when you look at the back, absolutely wide and aggressive. Love those dual tailpipes. There's actually 2 little pipes in each one of these fittings. And it's the LC500 as already mentioned. But look at the side flares on that. This is almost in line with the F Type Jag. The only difference is this car has slightly improved levels of quality, fit and finish, and reliability. Look at the rocker panel, very nice and stylish, and as well leads into this wonderful little vent that hangs behind that door. Definitely love the style of that car. Absolutely gorgeous from pretty much every single angle. This car really delivers the goods. Style-wise, almost unbeatable, other than possibly a rework on that front grille, but it is true to the brand. But what you get under the hood is what really matters. You get an automatic transmission, because why would you put a double clutch and fire-breathing aggression in a car that reeks luxury, style, class, like you see in an LC500? But it does very, very well. It still shifts very quickly. And the big news here is the 5-liter V8 that pops out about 480 horsepower. The numbers don't sound hugely impressive, but remember a few short years ago, the E60 M5 with 507 horsepower. And everybody assumed that was the balls, and it was quite impressive. But this was almost equally impressive. Different power delivery, but certainly still equally impressive. And the exhaust note is also very delicious in these cars. I love this car, and it's truly one of my highlights. I had somebody recently reach out to me and ask me, would I buy the AMG GT Benz? Would I buy this or the F Type? Well, I bought the F Type R because that was my personal taste, but trust me when I say this is a damn good option. But we know it looks great from the outside. It's ultra reliable because it's got the Toyota quality, reliability. What's the inside look like? I would literally say it's probably nicer than most of the German-made vehicles these days. High quality, contrast stitching, fit and finish is exceptional, and knobs and buttons work as they should. Sad part is, like every luxury car, they will depreciate, although they will hold a better value than you'd find in the F Type. But ask yourself, when's the last time you've seen one of these driving down the road? Not very often. In my mind, they're in the same category as the AMG GT, the Jag F Type Rs and SVRs, as well as the LC500s, and they're all top shelf cars that sport coupe, front engine, big horsepower cars. Great option, the LC500. Wow, look at this beauty right behind me here. You know, for a while there I was mesmerized. My eyes were watering to the BMW M5 and the 7 Series BMWs, and then I got behind the wheel of an S63 like we have right here, and then I quickly realized this car is the epitome of class and style and performance and luxury. There's very little else out there. Truly, for $180,000 as equipped US bucks, it even seems like a great value, relatively speaking. Would you believe that? This car has a lot going on, and I'm going to explain some of the elements, but let's look around first, and I'll explain why the performance is as crazy and insane and why I was breathtaking and smitten when I drove this car. Here we have the AMG S63, and of course it's a sedan. You have the coupe now, but you also have the sedan, and it's a V8 and it's a twin turbo. Beautiful mirrors, beautiful high quality large grip handles, makes you feel like a king when you grab a hold of those. Not the biggest fan of those taillights, but that's a small detail on this S63 by Mercedes, and again, it's an AMG product. Look, it even says AMG on the tailpipes there. And as we look down to below, there's quad tips down there. Lots of this blacked out finishing. Now this is an actual upgrade on this car and makes it look very, very menacing. Look down the side, has a slightly conservative look. After all, if you're a senior executive, you don't want to be showing up to the party with something that looks fire-breathing and wings and things and look too aggressive. This car still has enough of that touch of class. Great little headlights on there, the new generation, and of course, because it's an S-Class, it really does have the best front grille on a classic Mercedes, as you see right there. And it's that wonderful three-pointed star. How about the front end? Definitely has a very strong look to it. But again, you'll notice that piano glass black finishing, and that all comes with the upgraded trim packaging, which makes this thing look ultra mean, menacing, and strong and aggressive. Big 20-inch wheels, and you got the big brakes to match with the AMG clampers to actually bring this big beast, this 4,500-pound Hulk, to a stop in due time. So the car definitely has strong presence, spits and snarls and snorts like the best of them when you want it to, and definitely has a better exhaust note than you find in the BMW world. But there's even more going on under the hood. We'll get to that in a second. What about inside? Look at the seats, absolutely bolstered beyond. Gorgeous fit and finishing. Look at the console embossing going on there, as well as all the detail throughout. Absolutely gorgeous and mesmerizing in all counts. So it's really not just about the fact that you have HVAC systems and balanced heating systems within, you have vibrating seats that coddle you and make you feel nice and warm and fuzzy and jostles the kuyans. You also get mood lighting and virtually every other amenity you could dream of in any modern luxury car. But you also get a wonderful, silky smooth automatic transmission, made it up to a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that slaps out a whopping 603 horse and about 640 pound-feet of torque. All this powertrain goodness results in a 0 to 60 mile per hour time in about 3.4 seconds and about 190 miles per hour top speed. Absolutely gorgeous car, top shelf performance and style and luxury, and truly getting one of these, all you see is BMW in the taillights. The Mercedes AMG S63. And with all of that said, if you want to see the reason why I'm not buying another BMW, right there, I'm going to share the whole story with it from the beginning to the end. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again. We'll see you real soon. Catch you then. Bye-bye.